Continuing with the handout of the class notes on the conditional and the biconditional, we're on the next page and we're going to talk about the biconditional. And basically what the biconditional means is that if P then Q and if Q then P. So to derive the truth table for the biconditional, we want to fill out the following table. Set up this, we take two conditional statements, if P then Q, and if Q then P. Once we derive this, then we'll fill in the answer column will be the answer column for the basic biconditional truth table. So take a minute, pause the video, and see if you can do this on your own. And I highly recommend that. It's one thing to watch someone do math, it's another thing to actually do it yourself. So if you want to get the most out of these videos and you want to be prepared when you come to class so that you can practice, it's really important that you take advantage and pause the video and try the examples. Don't just watch. Alright, so here is the answer column for the biconditional. Should be true, false, false, true. So what basically happened was the biconditional is true when the truth values are the same. And I will summarize again how I got this. I basically wrote down my P column and my Q column for the if P then Q. I know that the conditional is true unless you have a true false, so only one row here is false, so we get true, false, true, true. And then we do the if Q then P, so I copied my Q column and my P column, and then I did the conditional for those two columns. Again, conditional is false only for a true false, so here is the only false in that column. The very last thing I did was the conjunction, right? Because the biconditional is basically the representation of a conjunction of two conditional statements. And so when you take the conjunction, both truth values have to be the same, or have to be true, excuse me. So true, true would give me true. False, true gives me a false. True, false gives me a false. And true, true will give me a true. So what ends up happening again, as I just mentioned, that the biconditional, which this is a representation of, is only true when the truth values are the same. So we'll come down here and we will fill in the generic truth table for the biconditional. It's true, false, false, true. Okay. And so you will need to learn the 5 truth tables for negation, conjunction, disjunction, conditional and biconditional. You also should know how to come up with the first two columns when you have 2 simple statements and when you have 3. Alright, so let's look at this example. We're going to construct a truth table using the biconditional. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and fill in this truth table on your own, and then you can start up the video and look at the solution. Keep your conditional and your biconditional truth tables next to you, because at this point I'm sure you haven't memorized them yet, and then once you memorize them you should be able to do these without looking. Alright, after filling in my truth tables, my truth values for the P's, for the Q, and for the not R, remembering taking the R column and just changing the truth value, the next thing I did, and I guess let's label this. So the first thing we did was we filled in the P, we filled in the Q, and we filled in the not R's, all in basically in one step. The next thing we did was we did the conditional, so that's inside parentheses, and filled in this column, and the conditional is false when you have a true false. So all other cases are going to be true. Here we have a true false, so that one's false, and everything else is true here. The last thing we did was we took the P column and the biconditional with the column under the conditional statement here. So we've taken this P and this middle column right here, and we use the biconditional. And so the biconditional is true when the truth values are the same, and it's false when the truth values are different. And so we're going to have true, false, which would give us a false. True, true is a true. True, true is a true. Another true, true. A false, false, which is a true. A false, true is false. The truth values are different. False, true, again, truth values are different, so it's false. False, true, truth values are different. And so this table gives us all of the cases under which the initial statement is true or which it is false.